Hello everybody, welcome back to Comedian MTG. My name is Ian. Today's episode, we had to cover a super spicy tournament because the cEDH 7, the Bird Bash, happened either this last weekend or the weekend before that. And there's some pretty sweet lists in this tournament. I was gonna be like, oh no, cover the deck list, but then I realized you can see the thumbnail to this video, so that won't really matter. I'm super excited to talk about this. I don't want to beat around the bush too much. This is gonna be a super exciting top 16, and I love talking about spicy decks, so we've got a lot in store for today. Want to make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to help out the channel for free. Check out patreon.com if you're interested in helping out and supporting the channel going and growing. And I want to thank our sponsors for today's episode, Heavy Play and Tales of Adventure Magic, which we will talk about later in this episode. Let's get into it. We have Esper Engine Stax combo by Asmund. This is a Tivit Seller of Secrets deck, and there's some pretty interesting stuff going on here. We've noticed Tivit decks in the current metagame seems to be a little higher on this Grand Arbiter Augustin the Fourth tech, which, I mean, for me, it's one of my favorite cards of all time. So like, for cEDH, to be clear, not in any other capacity, but I think it's a really cool card design, and seeing it in Tivit's really sweet. A 4-mana Tivit is infinitely more scary than a 6-mana Tivit, I will say, and obviously being able to disrupt your opponents is very powerful. Unfortunately, there are times where you shut off their forces and things like that when you need them to be assisting you with the responsible version of the table. So there's definitely upsides and downsides to the card for sure. We have the Displacer Kitten and Teferi lines present in this deck. For those who don't know, Teferi plus Displacer Kitten allows you to loop any of your mana rocks that produce mana or at least are mana neutral and draw through your entire deck. We have the 1-card combo Time Sieve, which goes infinite with Tivit, connecting with your opponents. We've got some Blind Obedience stuff here. I think Blind Obedience and Dauntless are like just auto staples in this deck at this point, just to be able to stop one of the worst dockside feeding decks in the format, unfortunately. And then Hullbreaker lines, which are pretty sweet to see here. I feel like there's been a little bit of fluctuation in the community on whether Hullbreaker lines are considered to be necessary in Tivit, but here we are seeing it in this variant. Apart from that, Tivit is kind of the slower controlling version of Esper that we kind of know and love. We see some counterbalance action here, very controlling stuff here out of this Tivit list. 28 lands, which is definitely on the lower side of a deck that has as big of a curve as Tivit can. But congrats to our 16th place player here. We have Midge, Range, Bonter by Lanky Coon, I assume is how you say that. We have Kinnan Bonder Prodigy here for this top 16 breakdown. In our 15th place, we got some of the brand new art here for this one. A pretty traditional Kinnan list. We are seeing some older tech back here with Astral Dragon, a piece that was being played in like sort of the prime of the Mox Masters format, and now we're not really seeing the Astral Dragon quite as much. So interesting piece there for sure. Apart from that, seeing a lot of the pretty standard Kinnan inclusions here. We love a Sylvan Library and 27 lands. Couldn't imagine having to mold to 2 on this deck. Anyways, we are seeing a lot of the cool stuff here in Kinnan. We are on Valley Floodcaller. Kira in the list, which is so sweet because this is a card I was testing a while ago, but ended up moving away from this card. Really good anti-Bowmasters tech. Very good at just stopping your opponents, targeting your creatures, and blowing your stuff out. So really cool to see Kira in here. It's one, as I mentioned, I tested but never made it to a tournament list. So it's kind of fun to see it here in this top 16 deck list. Congrats to our pilot on taking the spin to win mentality and putting up a top 16 result. We have JD the DP with Inalla SoCal, I assume is a Southern California version of Inalla. Hoarding Broodlord here in this Inalla list, which I guess does make sense given the fact that Inalla already plays like a lot of pretty standard reanimator pieces in traditional Inalla, and Ashnod's Altar is also something I am not familiar with in this archetype. Like, I know what it does, but saying specifically in this variant. Chthonian Nightmare loops with this Inalla loop. This one's playing some spicy stuff in here. Are we on Saw in Half? Yeah, we are on Saw in Half, and we are on Burnt Offering, and we're on not Peer into the Abyss. So what do you Saw in Halfing your Broodlord to? Oh, do you get the Ruthless Technomancer line? Well, no, that doesn't make sense because Oh, is it Lively Dirge? Does that work? No, I don't think Lively Dirge works. What am I missing here? I don't know. There's some sort of Broodlord line that I'm clearly missing here. There's no Adnaz? No Adnaz. Okay. Somebody knows what the line is from this point. That's really interesting because Lively Dirge doesn't help because Ruthless Technomancer does not have mana value 4 or less. So if you make a copy of Technomancer, I don't know. There's some sort of line here present, and I am insanely curious to see what it is. Oh, I guess maybe you can make a dockside. Okay, wait, we're cooking. So if you have 2 copies of Technomancer, you don't sacrifice the fake copy, but you sacrifice the real copy. This once again, this is with a resolved Lively Dirge. Oh no, but you can't tutor 2 things with Lively Dirge. I'm so confused. Okay, there's something going on here with with the Son half line. I'm so curious to hear about it. Also, for those who don't know, Aether Channeler is something that allows you to go infinite with Dockside. You end up bouncing the real Aether Channeler and Dockside when you go infinite with this card. Pretty cool stuff here to see some more of the unique lines in Inalla. And oh boy, I'm so curious about those Hoarding Broodlord lines. Sorry, Mary, you all watch me not figure that out. But really sweet stuff here. Haven't seen an Inalla in a long time, and one with some innovation is definitely not what I was expecting here. So congrats, JD, the DP. This is some pretty cool stuff. Big fan of some spice in Inalla. We have Tutor.deck by Monty19. This is Sisay. Wow, with Ren and... Oh, this is an interesting Sisay list already because we are not seeing a Planeswalker line, but including some of these value... Interesting. Whoa, what is going on here with this Sisay list? Okay, so is there chromatic ori? No, there's no chromatic ori, but there's cultist lines, but there's no planeswalker lines in this deck. Oh, because this version's playing the Irith of the Healing House version. Okay, so I've seen this before where basically you get Irith and a thing that gives it haste like Tyvar, and then you make a copy of it, right? Because it allows you to untap up to 2 other target legendaries. So if there's an Irith and a legendary mana dork, and then the normal Irith, and so you like untap the Irith and the mana dork, and then you untap the other Irith and the mana dork, and then you make infinite by doing this over and over again. You just have to do this in the table, and they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, DynaHair is an interesting inclusion here. Yeah, no planeswalkers in this version of Sisay. I'm wondering if the pilot just sees it as an optimization to avoid the planeswalkers entirely. Although I'm not going to say that I truly believe in Kenrith in the 99 being the most optimized version of this deck, but it's definitely a spicy inclusion, to say the least. Obviously, yes, I'm aware it's an outlet to be able to kill your opponent's post infinite mana, but it's traditionally a very unnecessary one, right? You have Tiny Bones joins up, so you can flicker your legends over and over again. A 26 land Sisay deck? Whoa, that is so few lands. And not that many artifacts either. How many mana dorks are there? There's some, but like, this is a wild Sisay list. Definitely fulfilling the stereotype of you can build Sisay in any way possible. There's so many cool, crazy, wacky things going on with this Sisay deck. I am so fascinated. If the pilot of this lovely Sisay deck has any presence in the comments, I would love to hear more about some of these inclusions, because the spice meter is off the charts with this one. So hell yeah, congrats on a wicked cool spicy Sisay list. My Boston is showing. I said wicked cool. I want to thank one of the sponsors for our episode here, Heavy Play. Heavy Play has been partnered with us for a little bit of time now, and it's been a really great partnership. I adore using the Heavy Play products at events. That's not part of my partnership with them. I just genuinely really enjoy their product. Heavy Play deck boxes are super sweet. They have the dice tray, as I mentioned, that just magnetically clips onto you. Oh, I actually have it physically with me in person because I'm going to a tournament tomorrow, and I'm recording this at 11 o'clock at night because I'm leaving for a vacation and a tournament tomorrow. Whoa. Anyways, this is my really cool Heavy Play deck box. And as you can see, my dice tray is just Ooh, magnetically attached. We love it. Magnets. Anyways, Heavy Clay is super sick, and I really enjoy working with them. Their products are awesome. Honestly, it's so nice for tournament settings. You are just able to have a compact, nice setup, and it's sweet. Winter's a killer here with Banana Slim. That is so hard to say with a straight face. Okay, Banana Slim. Okay. Anyways, this is a Tasigur, the Golden Fang list. Yeah, Tasigur, another one that's sort of pulled out of the depths. This tournament had some deep spice going on. We got a 27 land Tasigur deck going on here. For those who don't know, Tasigur wins with infinite mana, being able to be pumped into Tasigur, right? Activated ability over and over again. Traditionally, it's been done in a number of different ways. We are no longer seeing like Isochron Scepter lines from this deck, which is like fair. Like Iso-Rev's not exactly the most attractive win condition. But this one seems a little bit more like Reanimator heavy. Now, obviously, you can use Neoform and Birthing Pod to take Tasigur's 6 mana value and flip it into a bunch of these really powerful 7s, things like Scholar and Nezahal and Hullbreaker and Toxrill. There's Peer in the deck too, so I assume there's some sort of nonsense with Scholar and Peer, and I don't quite know how you're entombing both of those items. I'm not sure about that. But you also have Hordling Broodlord here, so if you Eldritch Evolution your Tasigur and or just do the classic Reanimator stuff, you can go through a line here with that one, because this is the Saw in Half into Sacrifice into Peer in the Abyss. See, I know this Saw in Half line. I can do this one. This one's the old one. But yeah, not really sure what Scholar specifically is doing here. I assume it's just allowing you to cast a high impact spell if it gets put in the graveyard, because Tasigur does mill things, to be clear. Like that's just like the inherent synergy. I haven't seen Tasigur since 6, but 6 feels perfect for this deck. Like this deck and Kenrith feel like perfect 6 decks. And yeah, cool stuff here from the Tassadaddy. If any of you guys have your Secret Lair Ian Malcolms, now's the time to whip them out. Clearly Tasigur is coming back. We have Chains and Whips Excite Me, cEDH Midrange by Stem God 14. I thought about it for a second there. I was like, am I gonna, have a C and D from that song? But I was like, I'm literally just saying a line from it. Okay, we have a Tymna Thrasios deck here. Tymna Thrasios on the comeback. Is this a secret Nadu deck? No, it's not. Okay. Traditionally, as of the past couple months, the TNT decks that have been doing well have been classic Tymna Thrasios with the Cephalid Breakfast pile, as well as Nadu in the 99. But here we have like a real 2018 style Tymna Thrasios with just, some good value engines, things like Brina the Demagogue. Kambal's a cool inclusion. Then we have Devoted Druid Lions. I didn't see Machine God's Effigy. Yeah, so it's just Swift reconfiguration that goes infinite with that. To make infinite green mana, goes infinite with your commander. There's no Kinnan Basalt, it seems. They're like a free from the real? I don't think so. No, just good old fashioned. We're either winning with Demonic Consultation and Tainted Pact and stuff like that, or we're winning with the Swift Recon lines. It doesn't seem like there's any other sort of infinite mana stuff here. Just a very good 4-color, like for those cEDH boomers like myself, this would be definitely fitting under that like medium green style description. But for everyone else, it just means mid-range Tymna Thras. We have Milzgen with Kinnan Biggins. This is another Kinnan deck, Perplexing Chimera. No, I know it's a popular choice with this deck. This is a pretty traditional Kinnan list with the spicy inclusion of Chromatic Orrery. That's it's one you don't usually see outside of Derevi lists for sure, or certain Sisay lists. Apart from that, though, it's like a pretty traditional Sisay list with, your normal big flips. Oh, wait, I forgot to do the thing I've been doing lately. We have 2 Kinnans in this top 16. So what we do is we take a one and we compare to the other. So we got 13 cards different between these lists. As you can see here, some tutors, some top deck permanents, things like that. A little copy artifact action as compared to our Volatile Stormdrake, Valley Floodcaller, no Trinisphere in our most recent edition, no Kira, no Astral Dragon, and no Delighted Halfling, which I've been a huge fan of in Kinnan, and no Sylvan Library. Anyways, yeah, definitely the thing that sticks out the most is the chromatic ori inclusion here in this Kinnan list. Apart from that, all pieces that are like within the first 115 cards you put in a Kinnan deck. So pretty cool stuff here. Congrats to our pilot. We have Derping Chicken here with Urza Lord High Artificer cEDH. That's super sweet to see, to be honest, because I tried Urza recently and I sort of got my butt kicked because the deck was just not being able to win fast enough. But I love seeing it make this top 16. We have a Tabernacle and a Mishra's Workshop. Yeah, okay, definitely playing cards I was not playing. So it sounds like a me problem. We got Leyline of Anticipation here in this Urza list, which I actually really like from Urza. I assume they're playing no Flood Caller. Okay, Born Upon the Wind, maybe? No Born Upon the Wind either. Okay, interesting. We have Dramatic Reversal lines here with Isochron Scepter. We've got Grim Monolith and Basalt Monolith here with a Power Artifact. So a bunch of different ways to make infinite colorless mana. We've got some really interesting stuff here with Unwinding Clock, which definitely makes the Leyline stuff a lot more interesting. We've got Paradoxical Outcome, which I always thought was a super cool inclusion to Urza because you're already playing a bunch of these like dorky little 0 mana artifacts. And like sometimes PO can literally use Urza's ability to like tap all these to pay for itself and sometimes net mana even. And then suddenly you're picking stuff up and drawing a bunch of cards and doing all that crazy stuff. So really cool stuff here from this Urza list. Arkham Dags in the 99, Sai in the 99. This is like mono blue legends in the 99 of this deck. It's super cool stuff. And even a Phyrexian Walker. Definitely not one I've ever seen in Urza. Polywog, pretty interesting addition to the Urza slew of card advantage engines. Definitely a big upgrade for this deck, I would say. But really cool to see Urza here in this top 16. As I mentioned, like a deck that's been really on the outs, and a deck that I even failed to put up a result with. I mean, you know, it was Rip and Chip. They're a good meta, but still. Oh, E-Zone too. So there's multiple Flash enablers here. Yeah, really cool stuff. This is a pretty sick Urza list, and really cool to see some of the innovation, some of the tech, some of the Mishra's Workshop and the land base, which is traditionally, I think, you know, the budget of this card is what's kept it like out of brewers' minds for a long time. To be honest, I think it's kind of underplayed in cEDH. But you know, sometimes people see, even in a proxy-friendly format, a $3,000 tag on a card tends to turn people off to it. So really sick stuff. Definitely curious to hear more about this Urza list, and I really like these a lot of the inclusions here. We have Tournament by Zhensley, Zhehensley. That's probably it. We got Nadu, the Winged Wisdom, first iteration here in this top 16, and not the last. Dun dun dun. We have Nadu here doing the classic Nadu stuff. We've got the Sylvan Paradise, Sway of Illusion, Sea Kings, classic combination in here. We've got all 3 enablers. I'm seeing Shuko, Umbral Mantle, and Lightning Greaves. We've got Agatha Soul Cauldron, which you don't often see in Nadu, and I'm actually insanely curious as to why that's included here. We got the Earthcraft stuff, 34 land, so a land heavy Nadu deck. We love to see it. You know, a lot of the pieces that make this deck pretty sweet. Loyal Inventor is also an interesting one, but makes a lot of sense in Nadu, right? Because like as long as you get a single trigger, you can top deck tutor your pieces. But I guess why wouldn't you just play Trinket Mage? I guess you can tutor any of the. So the benefit of Trinket Mage is you can tutor anything to your hand right away and don't need a Nadu trigger, where this allows you to tutor any of your equipments. And as long as you can get a single trigger, this works better. Fascinating stuff. Cool. And this is a Rot Priest Nadu. I know this is like a popular inclusion or exclusion depending on the different versions, but this is Poison Nadu as we've been calling it in the community. Eladamri Corvik. Definitely a pretty sick one, and also really interesting to get the opportunity to peek at the top of your library at all times with Nadu, as that's obviously like a really interesting thing to be messing around with. And I'm curious like how often you're using the activated ability, because like there's an interesting thought about like what if this was a I mean, this is an elf heavy version. We got like a Priest of Titania and stuff like that. Like, yeah, this is really cool stuff. I think there's some innovation here happening in Nadu. That's a deck that's been, you know, played with some, definitely innovation working on it, but relatively straightforward. So there's some cool stuff here that I'm not seeing in the normal Nadu stuff. So congrats to our pilot, doing some cool stuff. We have I'm Just a Blue Farm by Creaking Ship. I think it's by Creaking Ship. This is more than just a blue farm. This is Creaking Ship's blue farm. But at the same time, this is a pretty standard blue farm list. We haven't covered any blue farm in this tournament, so let's talk about it. We have Tymna and Crom, a wonderfully powerful combination of commanders that draws you a pretty sizable amount of card advantage throughout the course of a standard cEDH game. You have some of the best card advantage engines in the format. You have things like Esper Sentinel, you have Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora, stuff like that. And you are trying to win with your classic Underworld Breach combos. You're trying to win with Thassa's Oracle and Demonic Consultation, sometimes Mamonic Betrayal. Keep it, Cal. You have Mnemonic Betrayal. You have things like Bowmasters or damage payoff, sort of. And then you have, as I mentioned, like ad nauseum as a bonus plan. But the idea of Blue Farm is you're trying to accrue as much value as possible and then use the very ridiculous amount of cards you have in your hand that no one seems to have called out to then turn the corner and win the game. So congrats to our pilot here for making the top 16 of Blue Farm. Tales of Adventure Magic. Tales of Adventure Magic, toamagic.com. Use Comedian at your checkout to get a fraction off of your order. You can get a crazy variety of cards. Toa Magic is just generally one of the best stores around. They are a vendor at a number of different events, and you can order stuff on their web store, pick it up in location. It's sweet. Check out toamagic.com. That's a good Korvold for cEDH 830 by Tag C. Kyle. This is Korvold, the fake cursed king. What are we cooking with here in this Korvold list? One of the more traditional looking Korvold lists I've seen recently. For those who don't know, this lovely Jund dragon is probably our most consistent turbo ad nauseum and even just Jund deck, period. Definitely trying to win with ad nause lines, breach lines, all that kind of stuff, but also being one of the best dockside decks in the format, as every treasure is a cantrip in this deck, drawing you an additional card. You have lines with Ruthless Technomancer, you have lines with Mayhem Devil to recur and to ping your opponents down. This one is playing the Wither Smog combo. Witherbloom Apprentice and Chain of Smog allows you to discard your hand and then infinitely drain your opponents. Not one I'm a huge fan of. I still don't really know why a lot of Korvolds are switching over to that as of recently. I don't think it's a very good win condition, but it is a win condition nonetheless. I tend to prefer the Squee Food Chain because I think it has a lot less downside than that. Mausoleum Secret's an interesting inclusion in some of these lists. Apart from that, we have that turbo goodness that is Korvold, and the deck does a thing. It's really fascinating to watch. It's a fun deck to play. I highly encourage, if you like more proactive decks in the format, and if you love doing a lot of crunching a treasure to float a mana and draw a card, and crunching a treasure to float a mana and draw a card, to reanimate your dockside, to sack your dockside. If you like all that kind of crunchy, Jundy goodness, this is definitely the deck for you. Number 5, Rafine Reanimator Pressure by Aphasia Fish? AP Hazia Fish. Great. We have a deck that, to be honest, I haven't seen a result from in cEDH in a really long time. People were heralding this as the best deck that ever happened to Esper. Ironically, this is in the same set that Tivit came out, and people were like, yeah, Rafine walks circles around Tivit, and yet we haven't really seen a ton of it until now. This seems to be a pretty sick Reanimator style Rafine list. Yeah, some cool stuff going on here. It's got some Agatha's Soul Cauldron synergies. You have Teferi's Ageless Insight to double all the card draw that you have with Rafine, meaning that you have to discard less cards with Rafine, and you're actually getting card advantage instead of card filtering with your commander. You're dumping stuff in the graveyard like Razaketh. I feel like there's something missing here with like potentially stuff with Agatha's, or it just might be spice. We've got a lot of things here that allow you to attack multiple players, which then adds more counters onto Rafine, which allows you to loot more cards deep. You have some things with Myriad, as that allows you to attack more opponents at once, which once again digs you more cards deep, digs you more into your strategy. And then a lot of interesting stuff here where it's like this sort of hybrid, mid-rangey, some beatdowny, a little bit of stacks. Some cool stuff here. We still have authorical wins and stuff like that. And then there's Razaketh lines. I think I was like, I guess you don't have a win condition if you lose Razaketh, but I guess that's more so, Thorical, sorry, not Razaketh. But I guess your win condition is like Elish Norn at that point, right? And you're just full go to murder mode. So yeah, cool stuff here from this Rafine list, taking a deck that is not really putting up a lot of results and taking it to 5th place. So this deck had the best record of every deck that did not make the top 4. So congrats to our pilot here. That's some pretty sweet stuff. We have a known performer at this point. We have 5-color Cheshire, Kenrith control cEDH by Anvil Dust. Anvil Dust, a well-known pilot at this point. Also known as Atlas, a player who made the Top Deck Invitational, very good at playing Kenrith and doing a bunch of crazy shit with Kenrith. No Niv Mizzet this time around. Okay. We still have the stunt double inclusion here. We got some Nadu in the 99 of this Kenrith list with the Nomads package. So just a full Nomad Nadu package in the 99 as a very big card advantage engine. We got some Agatha the Vile Cauldron here, helping you with Kenrith's abilities, all that stuff. New Polywog. There's a dual caster line in here, which I think is pretty indicative of this version, that allows you to instant speed dual caster stuff with Saw in Half, make infinite copies of any instant or sorcery that's in the stack, all that kind of cool stuff here. You can infinitely blink it with Cloud Shift, but that doesn't really do anything, I think. So I think it's more so for the Saw in Half stuff, but there's no Heat Shimmer, no Twin Flame, any of that kind of nonsense. So it's really just the version here that is working on the Saw in Half combos with the dual caster mage. So curious about that one and how effective that combo is. But it's been in like every version I've seen of this deck that I can remember off the top of my head. So it must be doing pretty well. We also have Displacer Kitten here with no Teferi, just a value kitten, flickering a bunch of stuff. Very good with Dockside, obviously. So cool to see it in this deck. This version of Kenrith always has some pretty cool spice going on. And Atlas is definitely somebody who, has very particular choices with their deck because they play it pretty religiously and they perform with it pretty consistently. So pretty cool to see him still rocking it, doing some cool stuff. New Nadu tech. We love it. We have Nadu by Thunder Down 2. Thunder Down is a name I've definitely said before about this. Maybe also Nadu pilot. Anyways, we have a Nadu pilot here. Let's compare it to a previous Nadu. Ooh. Well, we got a whole 19 cards different from our 2 Nadu lists here. As I mentioned, the last Nadu list was definitely playing some spicy stuff like Aladomri, Agatha's. The One Ring is sometimes, I think, it's pretty conditional. And then this is the Rot Priest variant of this deck. Some cool stuff there. No Earthcraft in this current top 4 list. That's crazy to me. I love Earthcraft in this deck. We have Dosen here. This version's looking a little bit more close to what I associate with Wounded Satellites list traditionally. So I feel like there's a little bit of inspiration coming from that deck for sure. We got Into the Floodmaw, new pickup from Bloomborough. Same with the Polywog Prodigy. Definitely some pieces of protection here for Nadu. This list definitely working a little bit more towards getting those counter spells and interaction pieces in hand so Nadu can turn the corner. Well, there's no endurance in this version of Nadu. Wow. I guess because you're doing Rot Priest stuff, but still endurance, I feel like is super helpful for... endurance is like a mediocre card, right? But like when you're trying to loop and actually win the game, it like kind of is necessary at certain points. Also, no Mox Diamond in the previous version, which is definitely pretty surprising to me. It's a 34 land, no Mox Diamond Nadu deck. Is kind of crazy. So cool stuff here from these comparison pages. As I mentioned, I feel like this is something I traditionally associate a little bit more with Nadu inclusions compared to our list down here. Definitely cool stuff. We have the Gray Jedi 5910 with, I'd tap that. This is Derevi. Derevi has been picking up some momentum as of late because of its a very healthy relationship with Nadu. This is more akin to, I think, like traditional Derevi stuff. Oh, this list is doing a bunch of crazy. Okay, we like it. Yeah, we've got the Preston the Vanisher lines, which I haven't seen in Derevi in quite some time, but Felidar Guardian stuff and Nadu has like a really healthy synergistic relationship. We've got some cool stuff with Polywog Prodigy here and Nomads and Nadu as a combination. I don't think there's any artifacts that equip for free with Nadu in this deck. No, it doesn't seem to be. We got the Agatha stuff for fixing like your more traditional Derevi combos. No Deadeye Navigator in this version, so Emil being the only real like hard combo card in this list, apart from like doing some of the quirky Nadu stuff. I'm interested to see what happens if they lose Emil in this version. Is there a line to actually win the game? I know with like Preston, you can, oh yeah, I guess you do the Preston, the Vanisher lines with Birthing Pod. Basically the TLDR there is like you simulate it to the point where like you make infinite copies of Felidar Guardian to blink all of your stuff, and then you get infinite Birthing Pod activations as well. It's a bit of an expensive line, but it gets the job done. And clearly enough to get our friend here to second place of this cEDH tournament. So yeah, this tournament's filling up with spice and a lot of cool stuff here from these Derevi innovations. Love to see this kind of stuff. Derevi's a deck that obviously I have a particular affinity for. I really enjoy it. So it's really cool to see it do well in this tournament. And it's really cool to see the evolution of the deck post Nadu and Nomads combo being able to be included into the deck itself. Also, the new art's sweet. Okay, this is the reason I covered this tournament, because the winning deck list is so cool, and a deck that I had looked at and convinced myself, no, it probably just isn't worth spending time on for cEDH. But we have what I think it's pronounced Zhulodok. I don't know. I think it's like a Zh. It's like Zhulodok. Anyways, the Void Gorger. We have a colorless cEDH deck taking down the 60+ player tournament. I'm going to say that one more time. We have a colorless Eldrazi cEDH deck taking down this cEDH tournament. This is awesome. This is my whole personality for like a month. No, I'm kidding. But like, this is so cool. I can't get over how rad this is. Zhulodok is such a cool commander. I love the design on it. Colorless spells you cast from your hand with mana value 7 or greater have Cascade. So if you're looking at a card like Ugin, boom, Cascade right off the cast. We've got just the wildest 99. And to be clear, for anyone looking at the screen right now, I have this sorted by mana value. And at 20 creatures, 2 rows down, I've hit the first 7 drop. Oh, yeah. There are 1 rows of 4, so 13 creatures in this deck with mana value 7 or greater. Now, things like Mirror Enforcer and Sojourner's Companion have affinity for artifacts, but you know what does not? Emrakul and Ulamog and Ulamog and Ulamog and Kozilek and Kozilek and Kozilek and Void Winnower and Cityscape Leveler and Devourer of Destiny. You have Skittering Cicada in this deck to give all these colorless spells flash. You have things reducing the mana value of some of these things. You have Liberator also giving all these things flash. Metalworker combos in this deck. I actually don't know if this deck has like a lot of combos that they win with infinite colorless, or if that's an option. You have Excalibur, Sword of Eden. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Oh, and we just have Echoes of Eternity, the new Kindred enchantment for the Eldrazi. Yeah, copying your colorless spells. You got 30 colorless lands here. Some really cool stuff having Yavi Maya in the land base, because that is a legal thing. It is not actually a green card here. Really cool stuff with the understanding of the rules as far as that's concerned. I'm curious to hear why that's in there. I guess there's some lands in here that don't tap for mana, and maybe it has something to do with that. Like Mishra's Workshop only taps for artifact mana. This stuff is sick. This list is so cool. Oh yeah, I guess Eye of Ugin also gets a tap for mana if you do that too. This is an Eye of Ugin deck in cEDH. This is crazy. What is happening? Oh, yeah, there's Ugin's Labyrinth in this deck. We have Urza's Cave, Urza's Mine, Urza's Tower, Urza's Workshop. And then Planar Nexus is every non-basic lands type. And I believe someone explained it to me that this is an Urza's Cave, Urza's Mine, Urza's Tower, and Urza's Workshop, right? So like it triggers the full mode just by having Planar Nexus on the field, which is pretty cool stuff. Wonder, do they have like an expedition map in this deck to like, yeah, they do, is to make that stuff happen. Okay, cool. So you can just play Urzatron in cEDH, and then you got a bunch of stacks pieces to like make sure you don't, die. We got stuff like Tanglewire, Torpor Orb. We got not the most stacks pieces, to be honest. I was like kind of surprised at how few there were. We got a Portal to Phyrexia, which double cascades. You got a planar bridge in this deck. I don't even know if you needed that one, but it's pretty sick. Forsaken Monuments busted in this list for sure. I am just over the moon. This list is, I could spend all day talking about this deck. I genuinely considered doing a deck tech on this, but I was like, I don't know this deck well enough to give a full thorough deck tech. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool combos, infinite colorless combos with things like Metal Worker. And is there a Staff of Domination? No. But there's Basalt Monolith with Rings of Bright Hearth. What's the Metal Worker doing? Is it just big and good? I think it's just big and good because there's 42 artifacts, so it makes sense that you just tap it for like 12 mana. There's Lightning Greaves here to help with that too. Yeah. I don't know. This deck's so cool. There's a Thran Dynamo in this deck. This is sick. I love this. This is everything that I think is cool in this format. I love that this is a deck that not only did well at a cEDH tournament, this is a deck that won a cEDH tournament. This won a cEDH tournament. This is awesome. I truly love this. Thran Spider is actually a really good outlet for your infinite colorless stuff that I was kind of mentioning earlier, but like, yeah, I don't know. This is so cool. Like I love that this is even possible in cEDH. I cannot respect enough that this Mihaly, I hope is how you say that, was able to win this tournament and take such a cool, spicy deck and perform with this. I want to see this played. I want to look at proxying this list up. Like, it's just awesome. And I hope I get a chance to play this deck sometime soon. If you are the pilot who played this deck, please feel free to reach out to us if you want to do a more thorough conversation about this deck. And if this is of interest to you too, and it's not just me who's geeking out about this deck, please leave that in the comments down below, because this is so cool. This is just everything. I love, y'all know me. I'm a brewer. This is so cool. I'm going to stop saying that now, but thank you for winning a tournament with the sickest deck. And that's our top 16 breakdown for the cEDH 7, the Bird Bash. Remember to like and subscribe if you like content like this. Leave a comment down below. What was the coolest spicy deck? Y'all know my opinions, but there was a lot of cool stuff here at this tournament. So let me know in the comments down below what you thought was the most interesting deck at this tournament. Thank you all for watching this video. Thank you all for being an amazing community. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening out there right now, but I am so grateful for how many people have just gone out of their way to be kind and caring and accepting and understanding out there. And just so much love to you all. Thank you all for watching this video. Can't thank you enough. Shout out to my editor, Cal. They're the best. Catch y'all next time. Peace.
I know I've been quiet for a minute. I've been grinding, still in it. I've been counting these digits. Excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat, excuse me.